Good morning, Inspired Illuminators. It is me, Jennifer Engel, your highest possibility state subconscious coach, coming to you on a gray, humid Illinois morning. You know, when Illinois starts to get its rainy seasons, it is actually comparable to the rainforest in humidity levels and such, which is why the Midwest is so lush and green. But because of the rain and the humidity, I haven't been able to get out as much as I want. And that is kind of a nice little intro to today's quote. Today's quote is trust the process, even on the slow, painful, ya didn't get much done days. So, one of the things that I've been finding is that there are patterns, okay? And there are two different energy systems. There's the ego or the mind system, if you will, the Western society system, the sun system, the system that is focused mostly on the physical world, and then there is the heart, gut, moon, intuitive, more moon following cultures, if you will. And what's interesting is they kind of meet at certain points, like the winter solstice and the summer solstice. And they may not call it the same thing, they may not experience the same thing, but the same kind of things are happening in both worlds at the same time. Now, the summer solstice occurred on Father's Day this year. I think that was like June, I don't remember, end of June. So for those of you who don't know me, once a moment has happened, a lot of times I'm more of the intuitive, see beyond kind of person where time doesn't really mean much of anything to me. So once time passes, I don't always know or remember specific dates. All I remember is events and feelings that went along with specific dates. Okay, so some energetic workers, or whatever you want to call us, will say that, a portal opened around that time. What the hell does that mean? Well, to me, I just call it an energy system. And a nice, simple, physical way to see it is through our weather system. So it kind of opened, and then here in Illinois, so this is more like a mini energy report for Illinois specifically, but if you are somewhere else and you experience something similar, you can remember these words and then know kind of what's going on. So a lot of times when these energy systems come in, weather systems will come in. And another pattern I picked up on is when the clouds come, they literally seem to be pulling, excuse the language, but shit from your subconscious up to the surface that may be holding you back. It could be physical things, it could be mental things like thoughts that you're having, it could be emotions that are holding you back that need to be released. So there are other patterns. If you follow the Gregorian system and you celebrate more Christmas, and then January is New Year's, that's when you kind of are sending your intentions out into the world of what you want the next year to be like. Then, when the summer solstice system comes in, and I said this in another Jaunt with Jen, it's like a midterm check, okay? And so it's gonna pull all the stuff from your subconscious that is blocking you from what you said you wanted to do or accomplish back in January. And a lot of times it will do this by laying you on your butt, okay? So I'll kind of talk about that in a little bit. Now, if you're more of the person who's in tune with intuitiveness, maybe you're part of a spirituality or religious group that follows more the moon cycle, then this time of year is actually the year or the time of year where you might be able to start to see things that are blocking you from your highest possibility state, from a goal that you have. And this is a perfect time, and even if you follow the Gregorian system, you can still do this too, to set a new goal. So you want to pay attention to what might be holding you back. You want to try to clear that as much as possible through mindfulness, meditation, visualization, script flipping. Again, I'm not very good at remembering to put the links below in my videos, but I do have a video on how to do all that. And then you want to set a new intention or goal. And you want to write it down. Maybe keep it somewhere. I used to be crazy with Post-it notes. I still have quite a few left over in my house that I used to post everywhere. But now I kind of have that big goal in my mind memorized, and then I break it down into smaller steps. And then every day what I do is on my notes in my phone, I kind of create a general schedule or a top, 1 to 5 things, generally 3 to 4, that I want to get done that day that will lead me toward that goal. Now, on some days, I'm feeling awesome. I'm kicking ass and getting my workouts in and cleaning my house and getting my Jaunt with Jen up there and, getting ready for this book launch. So I'm making quizzes that you guys are going to take if you come. Like all this stuff. Like, I'm feeling good, right? I'm in the physical world and I'm moving right along. And then there are other days, like the past couple days, to be honest, where it's like, I'm just gonna sleep until 6 instead of wake up at 3 because what the hell, I got all day. I'm a teacher on summer vacation. So what if some of the stuff in my house is still left out from a week or 2 ago? It'll get put away when it gets put away. I got a pain in my neck. My stomach isn't digesting right. I feel really heavy in my body. But my consciousness sometimes wants to take off and go other places, which kind of makes me feel a little bit lightheaded a little bit. And my stomach just doesn't feel good. I just feel like laying down in bed and doing a lot of sleeping. So sometimes the goals that I set for myself may not always align with the flow. And it took me a long time to trust the flow's process as much as, if not more than my own. Okay? And so I often talk about the juxtaposition. We need to have a plan. We need to have goals. We need to take steps that work on achieving those goals. But at the same time, because we do coexist in these two energy systems, one that's always pulling you into the physical world, into your mind, into the mental world, and one that's always trying to pull you back toward your spirit and toward your heart. So we kind of experience this tug of war. And so you have to have your schedule and your own flow, but sometimes an energy system will come out from outside of you, like the summer or winter solstice, and disrupt your flow to put you into its flow, because it is saying, oh, I heard what you want, but there are things that you are doing, things you're thinking, things you're feeling that are holding you back, you know, kind of like causing you to swim upstream rather than downstream. So let me show you what that is. And a lot of times you're going to experience that emotionally. You might feel, and again, everything is on a scale, I guess, from the smallest symptoms to the largest symptoms. So emotionally, you could feel maybe just tired or like curious or like, that's interesting, all the way to traumatic. Okay? You may be experiencing wanting to sleep more, and or anything from crying, tiredness, anger, the whole gamut, right? Mentally, your thoughts might be popping up, and if I use the clouds in the sky analogy, there are some days where you don't have a lot of thoughts in your mind, and it's like blue skies. Then there are other days you have a couple of those like nice white puffy clouds, and you got a couple thoughts in your mind, but it's not really stopping the light or the sun. You know, it's still shining on you pretty much all the time. And then you have days like today in Illinois where it's gray skies. And sometimes the light might peek through. On some cloudy days, there is no light. Well, the clouds to me represent our thoughts, physical representation of our thoughts. And so some days you may be experiencing a lot more thoughts in your mind that are holding you back. What I have found to be very useful, again, I use my notes app for a lot, but maybe you could do a voice recorder. That's what I use for my Jaunt with Jen. I use voice memo, so you could do it that way if you don't like to write. If you like to physically write, get a journal. Write down your thoughts, get them out. You might see some patterns, and if you see some patterns, then you can start practicing mindfulness, meditation, and visualization and script flipping. Whatever negative thoughts you might be having that might be holding you back, you visualize, you practice flipping them into their opposite. So with mindfulness, you're practicing letting them go by either just letting them go, or a really good way to do it is to write them down in your notes app or your voice memo or your journal. You're practicing meditation either through more, like if you're like more of like a physical person, through your exercise routine where you're just focused and in the flow with whatever physical activity you like to do. If you're more of a mental person, then maybe you are writing or solving a problem, that needs to be solved. If you're more of an emotional person, then you're getting together with other people, maybe talking about your problems and your issues, and really connecting with people through communication. And if you're a spiritual person, you might actually do the more traditional route of meditation, yoga, things like that. Okay, and then script flipping, also meditation is tuning. So while you're doing those activities, I literally use music. We all do. But what you're doing this time is you're paying attention to what music you're listening to. A lot of times if people are depressed, they listen to depressing music, when really they should be doing the opposite. They should flip it. They should be listening to music that relaxes them and inspires them. So during this time, you might also start to create playlists that are geared toward what you want to feel, where you want to go, and not necessarily where you are now. And then script flipping is where you recognize a situation, and I have a general script flip. It's a little cheesy, but you know, it's my first one. It's okay. It'll at least give you the idea how to take the situation and turn it around in your mind. First in the morning, then throughout the day, and then as you go to sleep at night. Good morning. Okay, so it's good to have a plan. It's good to stay on course. But sometimes there are energy systems that are going to come in. They're going to throw you off course. And the purpose is to get you to stop and think. What is getting me off course? Physically, mentally, or emotionally? Okay? So what I found is that if we actually do that work of saying, whoa, okay, the energy system threw me off course, rather than cleaning my house, rather than getting up early, rather than, kicking away at my whatever goal I have, it literally has me in bed. I have a stomach ache, I have a headache, I feel tired. Why? So the first key, the first step is being aware that there is a purpose for being off course. There is a purpose for the slow, painful, you didn't get much done days. So that's key one. Key two is, aha, now that I'm aware, what am I going to do about it? Again, that's where your mindfulness, meditation, visualization, and script flipping comes in. You practice, and you do the work, Every day we take a shower. Every day we brush our teeth, I hope. Well, this is just like mentally and emotionally taking a shower and brushing our teeth. If we don't do that, we get smelly and nasty and gross and people don't want to be around us. But what a lot of people don't realize or think about is our minds and our emotions are the exact same way. If we are not in a good place, people can be around us and support us for a while, but it's going to get energy draining if we're around those people. Or even worse, the people might explode because they bottle everything up, and now they've left an atomic, literal energy system in their house that just kind of destroys the spirits of the people living in it. So this is why I'm so passionate about teaching people to clean up their subconscious, because it doesn't just affect them, it affects everyone around them. Okay? But what I've found is if we do the work, and only we can do the work for ourselves, we can offer help to anyone else who might be in a lower possibility state, but our main job is to work on ourselves first. Now, if these energy systems come in and you're still feeling happy and upbeat, it means you don't have anything that is blocking you from your highest possibility state or where you want to go. And so in that case, you might be a worker or someone who can help someone else who might be blocked or feeling low, okay? But you're only gonna do it as much as you can, okay? You don't ever want to deplete your own battery, your own joy, your own energy, okay? So you have to kind of monitor yourself if you are going to go off and help other people. But your main job is to help yourself. That's why some people are more affected or less affected when these energy systems come in. Just like everything, some people have better hygiene than others, right? Physically, mentally, well, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, some people have more subconscious clearing up to do than others. Okay, and that's why some people are and are not as affected by the energy systems that come through. But what I found is if we're willing to do the work, God, spirit, that energy system that pulled our butt down, it's like magic, right? It's God, it's spirit, it's source, it's fill in the blank for whatever you want to call it, prana, I don't know, okay? What I found is it is almost like a bow and arrow. It will pull us back, but if we do the work like a bow and arrow, it will let go of the string and then we'll fly forward. So in the physical world example, what I have found is that there are some days, and at first, I'll be honest, this was really hard for me to trust that the universe has my back, to trust that these slow, painful moments wasn't just the world bringing me down, that it was actually the world trying to teach me a lesson to push me forward. And I'll be honest, I actually struggled trusting the process. But it's like anything else that you need to learn. Riding a bike, playing a musical instrument, learning to read, to do math, to do coding, to fix a car. Fill in the blank. It's just like that. It will become easier and more natural and automatic the more you practice it, like brushing your teeth or taking a shower. And we don't have to see it as bad and traumatic. We can see it as simple as brushing our teeth or taking a shower, right? It's a choice. All right. But I will admit, when I was down in my lower state, it may not be as much of a choice. So it's funny. It's like, Jenny, sometimes you say the opposite things. It's like, well, it just depends where you are. And so if you get my book, Highest Possibility States, I talk about the matrix of the mind. And that I kind of talk about the 4 different quadrants. So it just kind of depends where you are in the quadrant, how difficult, easy, or whatever it's going to be. When I was in my lower state, my demons, my shadows, which was fear, guilt, insecurity, low self-confidence, anger, jealousy, right? They were huge. And so at first, and this is kind of interesting, I just wrote another quote because I walked by this like abandoned gas station area that's been abandoned for years. And so I might actually include this quote in this talk as well. That something that has been left neglected for longer and longer periods of time, it's going to take a lot more work to repair it and get it back to what it's supposed to be, right? One of the script flips that I've been working on is I am not sick. I was born with spina bifida, so right out of the box, I was told, my family was told I am sick. I am broken. And so if it took me 40 years of hearing that story, and again, this actually goes back to my second part, what I found is if we do the work, it's going to take less time. It's not going to necessarily take me 40 years to flip the script and say I am healthy, but it is going to take a longer time than someone who has been born healthy out of the box, if that makes sense, okay? So if you are in a lower state, I don't want to diminish the amount of work or feeling you have. You know, those shadows can be very big and scary, but I can promise you, because I was there, definitely during cancer, I literally, and if you read my first book, Heaven Under Construction, I talk about the demon dance. I can literally hear, and what's interesting is I had a dream where I was talking to someone in my dream about how I had cleared a lot of my shadows and demons. In fact, one of the songs on my exercise playlist is actually by Eminem, I'm Not Afraid. And in there, he says, you know, I'm standing up. I'm going to face my demons. Actually, he says, these MRFers are doing jumping jacks now. So a lot of pop culture says if you face your shadows, if you face your demons, and I've also talked about this too. There was that rapper XXX that the younger generation liked to listen to. You know, he started off like all foul-mouthed and like a lot of other rappers, like in a very low place. But then he literally has a video about fighting his demons, his shadows, his dark self, and realizing it's the fight you have to give up. Because when you fight it, it attacks you. And you could even see this with people in your life, right? We live with a lot of people who are angry. I can't tell you how many people have confessed to me that their marital partners are difficult to live with because they're angry. So what we end up doing is we end up mirroring that anger back at them. And all that does is cause them to put up more walls and fight back with us even more and create more shadows and more insecurities. And then we just snowball all those things into something huge. What we have to do, no matter how difficult it is we have to do our daily toothbrushing. You do not have to take, especially if it's physical abuse, get out. Okay, there's so many resources. You can call the domestic abuse hotline. It is open 24/7. Okay. You do not need to take emotional abuse. Okay. You can distance yourself, take a time out until you are healed. Okay. You take care of you first. But for example, from 2014 until now, I took time to just take care of myself. And now I'm in a good place, so I have more patience. But if you're in a place that is constantly dripping toxicity onto you, you're gonna have to get out to take care of yourself first, okay? But if you're in a place where, you know, maybe it's not too toxic, maybe people are just a little sad or depressed, they love you, but maybe they just don't know how to show that they love you the best way they know how, then consider taking care of yourself and being that role model. Again, you're not trying to change anyone. You're only working on yourself. But what I have found is that if you can work on yourself and what I call tune yourself up, clean out your subconscious, organize it, you're gonna be kind of almost surprised. Like the people around you are gonna start to tune up too. Because our hearts are literally magnets. They're electromagnetic. They send out an energy system. So if you are the loudest tune playing, one of a couple things is gonna happen with the people around you that I've noticed. Number one, their tuning fork, their string, their wave, whatever you want to call it, is just automatically going to align up with yours. Those are the people who are willing to kind of change, okay? They'll just automatically do it. The other thing that could happen is they'll fall asleep. Sometimes the tune or the vibration is so much, it kind of like just puts someone to sleep. The third thing that could happen is, and this is the people who don't want to change, they'll just leave. Because it is such an energy mismatch that literally These energy systems can't even be together because it's such a mismatch. So by observing the people around you, you can kind of know what to do. If people automatically tune up around you, then all you need to do is tune up the relationship, tune up yourself, make little fixes. If the people around you fall asleep, then that's probably the relationships you need to overhaul. Get a counselor in, get a third party in, whatever. If the person leaves, and again, this is not like a prescription, an exact diagnosis. It's just a general idea. Those might be the relationships you need to trade in. Okay? Now, there are some times where people leave because they just need a timeout. Okay? It probably depends upon the duration of the time that they leave, right? If they leave for an hour, I've told you in the past that our brain chemicals, when we go into fight mode and flight mode, literally switch. And they don't unswitch until like 30, 45 an hour. Then they go back into our rational mind. So that's when you need to think about the 3 questions. How does this relationship make me feel in the moment? If you guys had a fight and it was explosive, probably not very good. Does it make me more or less functional? In the moment, it probably made you less functional. Okay? Does it give me more or less energy? In the moment, it probably zapped your energy. But now you have to think about over time. If you've had your relationship for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 17 years, 20 years, 40 years, now you're thinking about taking an average. You're not judging the person based on that one moment, but you're kind of judging the relationship based over time, and you're taking an average. Okay? And so then, if you think about over time, how does that person generally make you feel? Do they continue to grow your insecurities? Or maybe at the beginning, because you were 2 imperfect people, you grew each other's fear and insecurities, but over time, as you matured, you said, wait, we were growing each other's fear and insecurity, can we stop? And can we grow each other's self-confidence and things like that? So if that's the case, then I would say keep it. Okay? So that's how that person made you feel over time. And did they make you feel more or less functional over time? So if this person is saying, no, I'm still upset, I'm still angry, and I'm going to blame everything on you, and I'm not going to do this work of, growing each other's self-confidence, that's a load of crap, that's not going to make you very functional, right? So again, that's where you're either going to need an overhaul or trade-in. And then does it give you more or less energy? If there is no energy for you because someone is draining it and it's not a circuit, then there's going to be no more you. You're going to get sick. And I'm just going to be blunt and honest. You know what? When I was like 18 or whatever, 16, I can't remember, one of my doctors was blunt and honest with me. If you don't take care of yourself, you are going to die. And everyone I've talked to who's experienced major stress, cancer, things like that, one of the questions is, what's your life like during this time? Okay, now that's not the case for everybody. Okay, there can be environmental factors that cause these things, but it is a case. There's a mind-body connection. Okay? All right. So to kind of wrap things up, trust in the process. Even on the slow, painful, you didn't get much done days. See it as an energy system coming through. Just say, it's just a system. It's just a period of time. This too shall pass. While you're in the system, you're going to do your mindfulness, your meditation, your visualization, your script flipping. You're going to do reflecting. How is this making me feel? What's coming up? You're going to do your journaling to get it out, right? And then, do I need a tune-up, an overhaul, a timeout, or a trade-in? Okay. And then you're going to start trying to just do that a little bit every day, just like you're brushing your teeth or taking a shower. And then you're going to start trusting that the universe has your back. That these slow, painful moments aren't meant to say the universe is out to get you. It's saying, hey, look what's holding you back. Hello, can we work on this so that when this energy system is done, I can let go of the string of the bow and push you forward again? Okay? And trust, just like any relationship, whether it's with the universe or a real person, it takes time. First of all, you got to get to know it. I remember when I first started to really hear the universe, I'm like, wait, you're like funny. You have like a sense of humor. Or sometimes it'll even get mad at you because it's like, hey, you didn't do what I told you or asked you to do. Listen. And I'm like, oh. You know, I think in society, we make the universe or God seem like untouchable. We make it seem like so not like us. But what I found is it's as simple and as complicated as any relationship. Okay? And so to trust in the universe is to like put money in the bank account. And that's any relationship. The more you put into it, the more you'll get out, in general. Okay? If that other person isn't giving you interest back, then I would say stop the account. Okay? Find a different bank to put your investment into. But what I found is the universe, if you do your work, it will give you that investment back. In fact, it will like double it, triple it. Things that I thought would take me days or weeks, and then I was like frustrated because the universe had me on my butt or back, but I did the work. All of a sudden, everything that I thought was going to take days or weeks took like 1 or 2 days. No problem. So it will give you the time back. It will give you the investment back, but you have to do the work. I hope that this has helped someone today so that you can use your own down days, your own processing time to learn what is blocking you so that you can unblock it and move forward. And if you run into somebody else, you can say, hey, I know it. I've been there. Let me tell you what I did to get out. Because now, more than ever, the world needs to clear these shadows and brokenness and put it back together, and it needs you. Peace and blessings.